Hello and welcome to Categories Magazine. We can be found on the web at www.categories.com. My name is Jason J. Rock Houston, and I'm happy to be speaking with Tempt Guitarist Harrison Marcello today. Harrison, we're talking to you today because your band just put out a great little fun Christmas single called Christmas is a Time to Say I Love You, and I understand this is actually a cover of from none other than your godfather. You want to let people know who that is?
Yes, that would be Billy Squire.
And so obviously you know Billy, but I was just curious, whose idea was it to cover this song, or how did the opportunity come about?
Well, it was my idea because it's growing up, I spent a lot of time with Billy around the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and this was a song that I just would always hear.
Okay.
It's really just it's a fantastic Christmas song. It's got everything going for it. It's high energy. It's got the Christmas spirit, and it's a great rock song. So the guys and I were talking about wanting to seriously do a recorded Christmas song, a single, and I kind of had this memory of, oh my god, we should do the Billy Squire song. I love that song. So I brought it to them and we did it, and did a video for it and everything, and I think it came out great.
I love both the video and the song. I mean, first, as you say, the song, I think anybody hears this gonna love it. I don't really care what kind of music you're into. I mean, what I loved about it anyways is it like everything you said. It's a fun, poppy, uplifting song. Just the type of thing you'd want to do for Christmas. It's joyful. Just get everybody in the mood. If you watch the video, it's got the same kind of attitude, and you guys are in your Christmas hats, and I think it's just a fun song.
Yeah, the video, we're all from New York City, and that's where our band is based. So, one of the great things about New York is, the holiday lights and 30 Rock and the Radio City and all that good stuff. So we really wanted for the video to go out and shoot and get some really cool shots of the city. I love the video. I think it came out great.
And let me ask you, if you don't mind me getting a little personal, fact that Billy Squire is your godfather, I was curious, how does something like that come about? I mean, obviously your parents knew Billy. I was just curious, did they work for him or something, early on? And because that's kind of a fun story.
It's much simpler than that, surprisingly. My dad is a New Yorker. He was born and raised here, and my mom is actually from the South. She's from Louisiana, but she moved up to New York when she was young.
Okay.
And my parents, they actually both met in a band. They're both musicians.
Oh, wow. So, it's in the family.
Yeah, so, and they just were, in the kind of like New York scene and working in the music business and doing their thing, and that's how they just kind of met Billy, and they became friends with him. It was kind of like a mutual friend group type thing, I think, but so that's how they got to know him.
And that's cool. And so I'm sure that you've let him hear it, or I was curious, what was his reaction to it?
Oh yeah, he loves it, and from my talking to him, he really thinks we did a great job and put our own spin on it, and he likes it a lot.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, typically when people cover a song, either want to make, a lot of people just, they think, okay, the thing to do is make a carbon copy, but I dig it a lot of times when bands kind of put their own spin on it, because, you really, in a way, then, make it your own.
I think that's the best way to do it. We've done a bunch of different covers, everything from Def Leppard to Taylor Swift to The Weeknd, so everything from old rock stuff to modern stuff. And I think it's really important for any band that covers a song, especially a song that's very popular, is to try to make it their own, whether that's through the production or the energy they bring to it or whatnot.
And I think what's cool about picking a song like this to cover, not just is it the right time of the year for something like this, but a lot of bands over the years have released Christmas songs, and it's a fun kind of a little unexpected things you don't necessarily think your favorite band's going to do, but it's a fun thing to do. And I think the fun thing about picking this song is a lot of people may have never ever heard the Billy Squire version. A lot of people may not even know who Billy Squire is, but the great song about covering this is people are going to go check out the original version out. People are going to find out, oh, Billy Squire, who is he? They're going to go look him up,
Totally, yeah. I mean, and for how good of a song it is, it's amazing how unknown it is, because in my opinion, the song is, up there with like their Mariah Carey song or something.
That's what I was just going to say, being aware of who Billy Squire is myself, being a little older, I can't believe I've never heard the song. So, after hearing your version, I'm going to go look up the original, because that's what you want to always do. I want to hear what the original sounds like, just to kind of compare it to it. I will tell you, I checked out some of those other songs you covered. I really dug the cover you guys did of Bon Jovi's "Born to Be My Baby," and I'll tell you why. You guys, first of all, I love the introduction at the top of the video where your singer is thanking Bon Jovi and their crew for giving you guys the opportunity to open for them, and this is kind of your guys' way of saying thank you. I thought, what a cool tip of the hat. And what I even loved about your version and watching the video, it took me back to when they originally released that video. I mean, I'm looking at your version of the video; it's almost identical to the Bon Jovi version, and I have no doubt that you've seen the original video.
Yeah, when they're working in the studio and stuff, and the black and white, totally. Yeah, that was a fun one to do, because Bon Jovi, we got the amazing opportunity back in 2018 to open for him at Madison Square Garden, which was unreal. And then we actually did a cruise with him as well, because we just hit it off with him really well at Madison Square Garden. So he invited us to do the Bon Jovi cruise, which was in 2019. So we've actually been around him a few times. He's a really great guy, and he's done a lot for us. I mean,
he's like the Elvis of hard rock. He's been doing it a long time, and he's still doing it. And I've loved everything he's ever done myself. And some of the other stuff you've covered, you mentioned Def Leppard. I've seen Animal. I mean, you guys are almost dead on that, but I love the fact that you kind of put your spin on that too. And I thought Women was an interesting song to cover, because I don't know if you know anything about Def Leppard's history, but what's interesting was when they originally released, Hysteria, that's the first song they released off it, and the fans didn't react to that one too well, but then they released Pour Some Sugar on Me, and the rest is history, as they say.
Yeah, I know all about that, and it's funny because Women is one of my favorite songs of all time, even on that record. I think it's so cool sounding. Obviously the Mutt Lange production is amazing, and it has such a vibe to it. I always thought it was such a great opener. So, those two are hard. Speaking of going back to the covers of a band making it their own, those two are hard because that's such a perfect record already.
Oh,
it's like, how are you gonna improve on that or make that your own? So those are actually the most challenging in trying to find that line of not kind of disrespecting the sacred production of Mutt Lange and the songwriting of Def Leppard, but at the same time, adding a little bit more of that especially on sound to it.
I think especially on Animal, you guys kind of did that, because what I noticed, besides the great harmonies that you guys do on that, is your singer's vocal. I mean, he kind of there's some interesting stuff there vocally, and your guitar, I think, just kind of makes it kind of a really special song.
Yeah, I love those are probably two of my favorite songs of all time.
And then two that are kind of not unexpected, but I think completely different, is like you guys did a great version of acoustic kind of version of Home Sweet Home by Motley Crue. I mean, for a band like you guys, I could kind of see you covering that, because it's not like something like Shout at the Devil, and I think your fans would dig something like that. And then you kind of, for being as young as you guys are, reached all the way back to like the 60s for Can't Find My Way Home, another great tune.
Yeah, so with the Can't Find My Way Home one is interesting, because there's a great video on YouTube of Steve Winwood doing that acoustic performance of that, and it's really cool because he's out in like the English countryside, and he's like sitting at his fire and he's playing. It's a really amazing video, and he's just so talented, and he posted that video on YouTube pretty recently, maybe like 10 years or 8 years ago. And so I found that video, and I thought, oh my god, this would be such a fun version of this song to do. So
you guys,
and then the Home Sweet Home one was really fun also. I mean, to me, that's Motley Crue's best song.
Oh, sure. I think it's the most popular of all of you, if you're really honest about it. I mean, probably at least the one that's probably charted the highest. And getting back to Can't Find My Way Home, interesting story myself with that song is there was this band from the 80s and 90s that did their great cover of it, House of Lords. Have you ever heard their version?
I have heard that cover, yeah.
Because what's funny is I'd actually heard the House of Lords version first, and then I went back and discovered the original. But I thought, again, another great band that kind of you wouldn't expect them maybe to really do a song like that, but they really mastered it and made it their own.
Yeah, and yeah, totally. I've heard that one, and I enjoy that one as well. And I think this just goes back to the core of, a good song is a good song no matter what.
Yeah.
And if,
oh, sure.
and if you don't completely butcher it, but you can you can turn it into something that kind of fits the vision and the sound of your band, that song's always going to resonate because whether it's done with a 60s production sound, or an 80s, or a 2020s sound, it's still the same chords and melody, and that's what makes the song amazing.
And I think right there, just in the discussion we've had so far, that shows you that's like 3 generations of people covering the song, different generations, and so that song definitely has hit a chord with people.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the best songs, and Steve Winwood is just an amazing songwriter.
Yeah, you're so spot on, and Harrison. The other thing is too, you guys being so young. I was curious, how old were you when you first yourself started wanting to learn to play the guitar?
It was something I always wanted to learn to play. And, when you're a kid, it's hard because guitar is one of those instruments where, the first few months of the learning curve when you're getting your calluses and your fingers it's not a very fun experience. So I kind of had tried to start playing and fell off with it a few times, and I didn't really seriously start learning and getting better till I was probably about 11 or 12. And that's when I started taking it more seriously. And then when I was in high school, I had really kind of come into my own with the instrument.
And what's kind of interesting is, when you and I were talking on the phone last week briefly to set up today's interview, is I just kind of discovering and studying the band because your publicist hit me up about doing the interview. And I'd heard the band, but I never really heard of his stuff. So I'm going to go on YouTube and check out some of the stuff. And like I told you on the phone at the time, you guys have kind of like a Def Leppard vibe to me, a little more poppier than what Def Leppard's definitely got a pop element to what they do. But, what I dig too is you guys do great original stuff as well. So I was curious, once you started playing the guitar, what was the point when you decided, okay, as great as it is to learn other people's music, if I have any chance of like making it, myself in the business, I better start writing my own songs.
Yeah, so, I started writing my own music pretty quickly after I got, a few years after I started playing and got, kind of the guitar under my belt a bit. And it started out really with just writing, instrumentals and things like that. And I was very lucky that my dad, who was incredibly supportive of me, he really pushed me to you gotta get Pro Tools and you gotta learn how to record because that's the thing, you gotta do that. And so I started learning that, when I was in high school, and then once I kind of started, okay, I can do this, that's when I really started to think about, okay, lyrics and melody and how can I write and, go the full way. And around that time is when actually I was a freshman in college, and Zach and I had gotten together, so that was perfect for me, and that's when we started writing.
Oh, interesting.
The songs for Tempt.
And so, your mom and dad being in the music business, how big of an impact or influence was that on you, wanting to be a musician?
It was huge, obviously, and it's something where I think the best thing for me was that growing up, I learned about good music, and my parents both have great taste in music, and whether we were driving up to Vermont, to try to go skiing for the weekend or going on a family vacation, we would always be listening to everything from, David Bowie to King's X to, Lady Gaga, because my sister, she wanted to listen. So I was just exposed to so much music growing up and all different types of music, and that obviously is really kind of, I think, the most important thing for any artist when they're trying to develop their ear, is to, at a young age, listen to as much as they possibly can, and that's how you can really find, your voice as an artist and what you want to do,
I mean, I think that's why your band's got such a great pop sensibility, and you guys are able to write the type of songs you do, because, I mean, you take a guy like Dave Grohl, okay, everybody knew that he was a drummer from Nirvana, and then when Kurt Cobain died and all that, everybody thought, oh, what are these other guys going to do? And then we get Foo Fighters. It's like, oh wow, this guy can not only sit behind the drums, he can sing lead, he can play guitar, he can write songs, and it's kind of like, okay, wow. And I think when you open yourself to the possibility of, you know what, like you said, okay, we'll cover Miley Cyrus song. We're not opposed to doing that. I think it opens the doors a little more, and it allows you to kind of be a more rounded musician.
Totally, and like I said before, what people really have to understand when they're starting to write songs is a great song is a great song no matter what. That's why the radio, will have rock songs on it because they're a good song, or that's why people like all different genres of music. So as long as whatever kind of style you're striving for, whether it's like me who's kind of just in the general rock space, or whether you're in pop, or whether you're some DJ or something, you got it. A great song is a great song, and all great songs deserve respect, even if it's a genre you don't like or something.
Yeah, again, I was sharing with you, I'm a little older than you, and I remember like in the early 90s, when speaking of Bon Jovi, he cut his hair and everything, everybody was freaking, oh my God, he cut his hair, he's going, he's going light, and I'm like, okay, put on the new record, put on, which was like Keep the Faith at the time, is a little different, but you know what? It's still good. He's still able to write hit songs. Open your ears. Listen to something first. Don't just oh, he's cut his hair. Oh my God, I can't get behind this anymore. It's stupid stuff. First of all, because somebody cut their hair.
Yeah, totally. And Bon Jovi was, he was one of the few bands from that era that was able to keep it going, and even to this day where he still will release a record and have top 40 songs on mainstream radio because he knows how to write a good song.
Oh yeah, and and the other thing, like you were saying, is I'm a guy myself, typically listens to hard rock and metal, but when your publicist contact me, I listen to some stuff. There's no denying these are good songs. It's got and anything that's got kind of a hook, like your guys' stuff, you can't help but start singing along to that. And if you find yourself singing along to something, okay, it's got a hook. There's no denying it's a good song. You gotta be opening to listening to other stuff that you typically would listen to.
Totally. Well, I appreciate that, and I think that's what we're really trying to do. Where in the past few decades, with rock music and bands in general, it seems there's been this really big split. And what's happened where, it's like bands are either super heavy, like they're Slipknot, who I love, or they're, really light, like a 5 Seconds of Summer or a 1975 type band. And, we really want to try to bring rock, rock into rock and that kind of, with those pop elements, we really want to bring that into the 21st century and create a new sound and a new type of rock that, is going to be huge. And I think our record that is going to be coming out in 2023 early should do that. I'm excited.
And other stuff that I've been hearing on the radio all my life for the last 40, 50 years, like the Eagles, Tom Petty, those bands that have been played on the radio that many years, and they still mean something to people. It's almost like it's become a soundtrack to people's lives. And again, those songs would not be played on the radio 40 years later if they weren't good songs.
Exactly.
And so let's talk about the new album. Is it already recorded? You guys still putting the final touches on it, or where are you with that?
No, so it was mastered and finished like in March of 2020, right when the pandemic was happening.
Wow.
So, the whole pandemic obviously threw a wrench in, not just the music business, but everyone's business.
Of course.
But, so we've, just been sitting on it, which has been awful because it's an amazing record. And, we worked with Chris Lord-Alge on it. He co-produced it with me, and he mixed it.
Yeah.
And so it just sounds amazing. But we had to sit on it because we're, a relatively unknown baby band that, we had just signed our record deal in 2019.
Oh, wow.
So we needed a tour and do stuff like that. And obviously that wasn't going to happen during the pandemic. So we've had to wait until now because obviously things are getting much better and they're finally opening up and festivals and tours are happening. So, the main goal for us right now is, we have this record done. We spent all of COVID writing, so we should have another one coming shortly after.
Oh, wow.
and we just got to get out on the road, and we're really looking forward to touring this coming year. We did a month tour in Europe over this past summer, which was amazing, and we just can't wait to get out there. So,
and how did fans react to you guys over in Europe? I mean, probably favorable. I know they love their rock music over there, but I mean that's quite an achievement right there. You guys have made it over to Europe before your debut album's even out.
Yeah, Europe was totally amazing. I mean, the people at these festivals and the fans there just love music. When we played the first festival, we didn't really know what to expect. It was Rock and Park in Germany, in Nuremberg, and we play on the stage in front of thousands and thousands of people. And like you said, we don't really have any music out yet. We have one single out. That's about it. And people were going nuts, like they knew us, like they'd listened to us their whole lives. People in Europe just love music. So doing that tour was amazing. And so so like I was saying, we're in the process right now of with talking with agents to book a tour coming up so we can release this record with it.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely have singles coming out soon, starting the beginning of 2023, and then hopefully a spring, early summer release of the full
right in time for a summer tour. So let me ask you, when everything got shut down with the COVID and all the lockdowns, like, did you have most of the songs already written, or did you just continue? We're gonna then keep writing and recording and until all this stuff is over. And how hard was it picking like how many tracks are on the album? Like picking the final songs for the album, that must have been quite a chore.
Yeah, so the album was the album that's about to come out. We had already finished it before COVID started, and it was getting mixed and mastered right when COVID happened. So we had picked the songs out, and that's always hard because we had a lot of every song on that record I think is amazing and it's really strong. So it's always hard when it's like, we want an 11-song record, but we have 14. It's like, what are we gonna cut?
Yeah.
That's always hard, but you can always release those as bonus tracks or
sure.
or whatever. But during the pandemic, we had already finished the record. The pandemic starts, so we can't release it, but we went right back into writing mode because, we had basically 2 years of not being able to play live or do anything like that. So we were just in writing mode, doing a lot of live streams, trying to keep the fan interaction up. Yeah. So that's why we pretty much now have a second album ready to go.
Oh, wow.
As soon as this next one comes out.
And that I think is a true test. People tell me that the European fans are really kind of, again, they just love their rock music. They're a little more accepting than sometimes American audiences. And I think that's a real test for you guys, that you could go overseas and they don't really know your music or who the band is, but they gave you that kind of an ovation, and applause.
Yeah, they were unbelievable, and it didn't matter what audience we played. We played a show. We played shows with Shinedown, which was great.
Wow.
We played shows with Mark Tremonti. Yeah. We did a lot of the big festivals: Download Festival, Hellfest, Grass Pop, and we even played a show with Shinedown, Airborne, and Iron Maiden.
Oh wow!
And everywhere we played, we heard Iron Maiden fans were going to be a tough crowd to win over.
Wow!
But we won them over, and everywhere we played, we were showered with praise and love, and we were so grateful for that.
Now, if you can do that, you're definitely, your band's definitely got something. If you went over with Maiden fans, that is amazing right there. And so wow, when the new album comes out, let's keep in touch, Harrison. I'd love to talk to you again. But before I let you go, you were saying that you and Zach, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys met in college. Is that correct?
Well, we didn't meet in college, but I was in my freshman year of college.
Okay.
And Zach he was working with a songwriter and producer already named Jack Ponte. And Jack Ponte is from Jersey, and he's good friends with Bon Jovi, actually, and helped write a lot of Bon Jovi's early songs. And Jack told him, gave him advice, you should try to find your, Richie Sambora or your Joe Perry, your kind of guitar songwriting partner in crime. And so Zach actually found me on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
And because I was doing a lot of guitar covers at the time, so we connected and met up, and we just started writing and doing stuff right away.
And wow, that's amazing. And you had that immediate connection or chemistry, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and then after Zach joined, I finished up school, and then we started really seriously pursuing the band a few years ago, and that's when we got together with Nick, our drummer, and Chris, our bass player, and everyone is super dedicated and really talented, and I feel so lucky and blessed that we were able to find I was able to find 3 other guys to share this vision with, because the biggest problem I hear from other people my age who want to start bands or be in music, finding people that are going to be dedicated and show up to rehearsal and actually, put the work in.
Well, I mean, maybe it's because you guys are, you're the age you are, and you still got that hunger. A lot of times, bands fall out with one another because, everybody wants to, they find success, they get successful, and then everybody starts fighting over whose song's going to get on the album. I think you guys still got that hunger because you're so young,
Yeah, and everyone's just smart, nice guys.
Yeah, so, that's what counts.
We really gel, and we're all really good friends, which has just been amazing.
And so when Zach had found you on the internet, I was curious, did you guys live close to each other? Were you all in the New York area, or did anybody have to move?
No. So he was living on the Upper East Side, and I was in school in Boston, but I'm from New York, and I live on the Upper West Side. So we really only lived like about 1.5 miles away from each other our whole lives, and we had a lot of mutual friends too from high school. So it's just funny that we kind of had missed each other our entire lives, despite kind of being friends with and friendly with the same groups of people. But it ended up working out either way.
And so, who were some of your favorite guitar players growing up, Harrison, that you'd say kind of influenced you?
So growing up, definitely Alex Lifeson would be a huge one. My dad is a huge Rush fan, so I've been to like 20 Rush concerts or something, and I love Alex Lifeson. I mean, you'll hear it on the record, but I really love his style of playing with the big open chords and that whole sound. And I love Randy Rhoads. He was also my other biggest influence. I'll never forget listening to that Randy Rhoads Ozzy tribute record for the first time. I was 11 or 12, and he was one of my biggest inspirations to keep playing the guitar and get to that level of just hearing some of those solos and that rhythm playing he would do on that record. You know
what's amazing about that is when you stop and realize, that Randy, died so tragically young, but his legacy really is those 2 Ozzy albums, and yet what's amazing about that is the legacy the guy's gone on to have. He has such a huge fan base just based off of those 2 albums, and I think that's really, I don't know, just it's amazing that somebody could have the kind of legacy he's gone on to have.
Well, he's like no one else. I mean, as soon as you hear him playing, it's him. And that's, I think, the sign of a great guitar player. Whether it's Van Halen or Jimi Hendrix or Jeff Beck or Randy Rhoads, those are all players where as soon as you play this track for 1 second, oh, that's Jimi Hendrix, or oh, that's Randy Rhoads. I
even heard like Ozzy Osbourne talk about over the years the fact that when he was in Black Sabbath, Geezer Butler was actually the one that wrote all the lyrics. A lot of people don't know that, and so when he went solo, he wasn't very didn't know too much about songwriting. It was actually Randy Rhoads that set him down and actually taught Ozzy for the first time how to write a really good song.
Yeah, and I mean some of those riffs that Randy wrote are the most iconic riffs ever that will ever be written.
Yeah, and so Harrison, before I let you go, again, just to remind people about the new single you guys have out, which is called Christmas is the Time to Say I Love You. I mean, it's one of the times to say I love you, but on that note, you kind of expressed how fun it was to record the song. I was curious, that being the case, would you guys ever toy with maybe recording another Christmas song? Or I don't know if you even toyed with the idea of doing like a whole Christmas album. What's funny about that is a couple years ago, Twisted Sister, all people put out a Christmas album, and the funny thing with that is it would go on to become their best-selling album of their career.
I knew they put that out, but I didn't realize it was the best-selling album.
Well, what's funny about it, for years, the album from 1984, Stay Hungry, which is the one of I Want to Rock and We're Not Going to Take It, that was the best-selling album. And somebody was telling me that the Christmas album actually outsold that, which I find hard to believe, but okay, you never know.
That's pretty ironic.
Yeah.
It's funny that So yeah, the Christmas song was a really fun experience to do, and I think it turned out great. And for everyone listening, definitely check it out, because it's really the perfect rock Christmas song to have on your playlist, because it's got guitars in it, it's got a ripping guitar solo, but it's still a fun Christmas song that everyone, whatever genre of music you like, can get behind. And I would definitely do another Christmas song in the future, or even a Christmas album. We'll see how this one does and take it from there. And
the reason I asked that before I let you go is because I recently interviewed this guitar player named Mick Michaels. He's in this band Corners of Sanctuary. They're a little more metal than what you guys typically are, but their fans got to where they expect the band once a year to at least release a Christmas song or two, and they've been around like 10 or 12 years, and they've got enough these Christmas songs out that they finally put out a Christmas album called Merry Metal Xmas. And Mick was telling me, he goes, the funny thing is, we get a lot of our stuff played pretty regularly on the radio, he says, but probably the 4 weeks during December, a ton of places are playing our Christmas music for those 4 weeks, and probably we get more airplay out of the Christmas music than we do our regular stuff, which is kind of funny, again, if you think for a metal band.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the rock space and the metal space is kind of starved for good Christmas music. So if you can come out there, that's what I think is so great about this single we put out. Is it's a great song, and I think it could be a song, if it gets the right exposure, that could be the rock version of the Mariah Carey song, where it really just kind of annoys everyone every year because you have to listen to it.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of rival to that in the sense that, like, it's a fun little tune. You can't help but sing along to it. I'm talking about your guys' song, and I think, I'm thinking, right now it's the only Christmas song you guys done, but I could see next year that people, doing searches, and your song's going to come up, and it'll be a fun thing for people to check out every year Christmas. I think that, I definitely think like a whole album would be cool for you guys to do.
I totally agree. We definitely will look into that. If we do a couple more Christmas singles,
maybe
have to put them all together.
Yeah, and see, what's cool about your song too, you could have gone, and it would probably been just as cool with a traditional Christmas song like, Joy to the World, or, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, something like that, but you went with something that wasn't an obvious choice, and I think that's what's working for you here.
Yeah, and it's something, a lot of, like you said, a lot of people haven't heard it before, so, people always want to have a new Christmas song like that. People get tired of having to listen to the same ones over and over every year. So I think that puts a lot in its favor too, that it's a really good Christmas song that's new that most people have never heard.
Yeah, and it's not the same old. And before I let you go, I always love to ask people. I was curious. Talk about the name of the band, Tempt. Interesting name. It's like one word. It's kind of simple, but I love to ask people, how did you come up with that?
Well, it's something that I barely remember, because Zach and I had come up with it really early before the band even a few years before the band had really officially started. But I think it just kind of says a lot about the vibe of our band, that, we want to bring people in, we want to build a vision that's a new vision for rock music, it's for the modern age, and I think it's an enticing name, and I think we're an enticing band. Yeah,
that's so true, and I mean, the reason I asked too, I almost took it to mean come on, give our band a chance, listen to some of the music, we're tempting you here, and it's almost kind of like what I call a guilty pleasure. There are those bands that, again, maybe like a typical hard rock metal guy thinks, I never listen to this band, but you hear a song, you can't help but sing along. It's that good, Come along for the ride. Enjoy what we're doing. You'll love it. you give it a listen,
I think you just gave a better answer to that question than I did, so I'll go with your answer.
Well, there you go. Well, Harrison, as you can tell, you got a new fan in me. I've been digging this stuff, and I definitely want to hear the full length when it comes out. Is it going to be a full length album?
The album that's coming out, yes, it will be. It will be 11 songs.
11 songs. Okay, well, we look forward to that. Why don't you and I stay in touch, and when the album's ready to drop, I'd love to talk to you again.
Yeah, totally. I would love that. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, anytime you got anything to promote, feel free to reach out to me.
Chaotic Riff Magazine.